This is the Fosi MC351. It's a new integrated amp. The VU meter right there. And a whole bunch of connections on the back. However, this is not going to be a great review. I'm a huge fan of Fosi. Big proponent of Fosi. I want them to do well. But they can't all be winners. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the new Fosi Audio MC351. This product is touted as a 2.1 channel amplifier. And that 0.1 is an active channel. That's right, folks. For all your passive subwoofer needs, the Fosi Audio MC351 is here to help you, here to support you. We'll get back to that later. It does, however, have an internal DAC. It does also have Bluetooth. It also has a VU meter on the front. It also has tone controls. It also has very nice clickable volume button. I like when you actually have to turn it to turn it on, not when you have to press it in. That way you know it's on. It also has RCA in, so you can put an analog input into this thing. It is a true integrated amplifier, and it's made out of aluminum. As far as Chi-Fi companies go, this is a pretty good looking amplifier. On the back, you'll see the analog input there up on top, the coaxial input for the DAC right here, the optical input for your DAC right here, a USB-C input for your DAC right here, Bluetooth antenna, aerial, preamp output that actually varies the output depending upon where the volume's at. So you could use this as a preamp. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but if you didn't have another DAC and you wanted a different power amplifier, you could use it with the Fosi Audio MC351. But the most confounding thing for me is right down here with the speaker binding posts. You see you'll have 3 pair of them. 2 for your front channels, 1 for your passive subwoofer. Comes with a 32 volt 5 amp power supply. It utilizes the Texas Instruments 3255 amp chip, which can take up to a 48 volt 10 amp power supply. The power ratings claimed are preposterous, and it's not going to get anywhere close to those ratings with the included 32 volt 5 amp power supply. There is a channel. It's called Williston Audio Labs or Williston Audio. It's a great channel, and he does amp dyno tests. I started watching him way back when he was testing mostly Carl audio amplifiers. However, he has gotten into the cheap Chi-Fi Class D amplifiers, and he tests these to see how much power they actually put out. Puts them on the amp dyno. Spoiler alert, the MC351 from Fosi Audio did not do very well, even when he added a 48 volt 10 amp power supply. I will link that video if you want to see the actual power ratings. You can jump on over to that video and check it out, but it doesn't make the power ratings. Okay. Also, this comes in at $190, $189. Let's talk about how it sounds. Sound-wise, was using a Weem Pro running optical out into the optical in the back of the MC351. Wasn't super impressed with the sonics of the internal DAC. A lot of bit spicy on top. I actually also tested the Bluetooth. Bad Medicine by Bon Jovi. Haven't heard that one for it. That's a deep cut. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of sibilance on it. With power output, I have some secret speakers on here. It's going to be an affordable secret speaker, so I can't divulge what the secret speaker is. However, at about 3 o'clock, it started to bottom out the woofer on the speaker. And I know the speaker can take a lot more juice because I had a lot better, higher power amplifier on it before. I was only getting max volumes without it distorting to 85 dB peaks at 3 feet. So, if you've got a hard to drive speaker, the MC351 is not going to drive it very well unless you want to distort and potentially destroy your speakers. Also, when I was switching inputs on the DAC from the optical input to the Bluetooth input, there's a couple of pops and cracks. To be fair, I've heard this on a lot of amplifiers, but not ideal. So internal DAC isn't great. Power output isn't great. It looks good. It's solidly built. But let's just jump right into my final thoughts and make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I think there's a better option out there that's going to come in around the same price point. Fosi Audio has been part of the channel really since the beginning. It was one of the first products I ever reviewed. One of my first videos was on the BT20A. I loved it. I still love that amplifier. I was so impressed that I bought the non-Bluetooth version for my back porch. I've done dozens of Fosi Audio product reviews or product videos. They've been a sponsor of the channel before. They've released the V3, the V3 Mono, the ZA3, all of which I think are outstanding products. I cannot say that about the MC351. It has a VU meter, which is kind of cool, but it's constantly in the top quarter of the range. This does not put out enough power in the near field. Did I put a 48 volt 5 amp or 10 amp power supply on it? No, you can and you will get more power. The DAC on the inside doesn't sound very good. I did try the SU1 from SMSL and it was way better. So this is about $80. $80 DAC. This is $190, the MC351 from Fosi Audio. So, what I would recommend is getting something like the Fosi Audio V3 or the Fosi Audio ZA3 and using an SU1 instead of the internal DAC. You don't get Bluetooth with this, but Or you could get the Fosi Audio BT20 Pro and then use the SMSL SU1. I think at that point you're coming in almost exactly the same. You're going to have tone controls as well on the BT20A. The weird thing about this amplifier is, one, it comes with a 32 volt 5 amp power supply. Two, it has the 2.1 channel. I did try it out. I just hooked up a speaker. I wanted to push it a little bit, so I hooked up a Mica RB42, I think it is. It's the super hard to drive one, 83 dB. I have been told that there is a low pass filter that is automatically applied to whatever speaker you have connected to the subwoofer outlet. Did it make bass? Yeah, it did. Here's the problem though. There's no way to control the level on that output. So there's no separate volume control for your passive subwoofer out channel. I don't know who would be using this outside of some DIY use case scenario, but even if it is a DIY use case scenario, you're still not controlling levels. You're still not controlling your subwoofer level. So you could go buy a little subwoofer from Dayton Audio. You could put it into a box and build it. That costs money though, and your time costs money, and you still don't have a way to control the level. You can take an existing speaker like I did and put it somewhere. But again though, you're still not going to be able to control level. I'm not sure who the target audience is for this product. It's definitely not for me. And I think it's safe to say it's not for most of my audience. Even with the same power supply, using the same chipset in a different amp, I didn't notice the same drop off in power. So unfortunately for me, this is going to be the first Fosi flop that I've had in. I love the company, but I think Fosi needs to tap the brakes at this point because they're very good at analog amplifiers. They need to lean into that. I get what they're trying to do here, but for a first swing at an integrated amplifier with a DAC inside, just make it 2 channels and have a subwoofer output. Even if you want to build a passive subwoofer, I don't think you're going to have enough power from this thing to really drive it to its capabilities. And again, don't mean to beat a dead horse though, but how do you control levels? You don't. You get what you get. So this might be a product for you, but I don't think the DAC sounds very good inside. The Bluetooth doesn't sound very good at all. Now, to be fair, most Bluetooth doesn't sound good. For me, though, I'd rather have a little bit of lack of dynamic range than a bunch of sibilance going on. It's a pass for me, unfortunately. If you are interested in a really good integrated amplifier, I'm going to link the Weem amplifier. You're going to spend more money, but you get a streamer, you get HDMI, and you get more usable power, actually, with an internal power supply. I will link that video right here or right here. Thank you so much for watching.